Hey there YouTube, welcome back to a rather late, 8 months in fact, British Army update for my British bolt action army. It's been a long time, and I have to tell you that I still haven't actually finished it. I'm very, very close. I'm literally one 10-man unit and 5 odd men away from finishing it, like I say, I haven't finished it yet. I have been building up many future armies to do in the future, which I'll run into more detail at the end of the video. I've got 4 things to show you today for this update, and let's get going with the second tank for my army. And it's, funnily enough, the classic Cromwell. I know this is kind of a pretty standard tank for what everyone seems to have in their sort of bog standard British armies. I'm not a massive fan of Shermans because I've got Shermans in my American force. So the next logical choice was the Cromwell, and I actually got this tank with my British Army deal. I didn't actually get the British Starter Army. I actually got the Build Your Own Army deal from Warlord. So this is the sort of the plastic Cromwell tank that comes in that deal. The only difference being I actually added a metal commander. This is the one that came with my original Matilda tank that I did in my second update, I believe. Really nice miniature. Of course, Warlord as well, with his RTR black beret. And you can see the Cromwell turned out pretty nice. It's kind of semi battered. Quite heavily muddy, weathered up. It's got the all the sort of correct armoured markings on it. I've got the crew chosen name for it. I decided to do a bit of research and choose an armoured company that actually had dealings with the actual regiment of infantry that I chose. So it can kind of historically tie into them in one way or another. And yeah, it came out really quite cool. A few failings with this kit. I mean, it's a nice overall looking kit. The main failing here being this quite loose, droopy gun. I didn't really want to stick it per se. But the annoying thing is that when you put it together, it's really hard to try and get it to sort of have friction. And once you actually kind of, you have to kind of seal the gun up into like a little box within the turret, and you can't actually get to it. It's really quite difficult to, you can't actually put your finger into the back of the turret and push the gun in, the little thing that keeps the gun sort of taut against the front of the actual turret mount, because it's got like a sort of a backing to it. And that really annoyed me, and unfortunately it has got this sort of droopy gun syndrome. Obviously you can say to yourself, well, why don't you stick it? But I kind of had to stick my 2 Panthers that I've got, stick their guns, and yeah, sticking the gun like directly straight it's not too bad. But it's obviously a lot better if you can get a little bit of movement on the gun. And like I say, it's droopy, but it's not the end of the world. It does kind of stay straight, so it's not the end of the world. The only other thing I'm not too keen on is these thick aerials, but the kind of good side to that is that at least they're not going to break. The ones that I made for my Italian tanks have all basically snapped off at least once, and it literally just takes a brush of the hand to sort of snap them off. They're so sort of thin and fragile and brittle. So, these things might look a little bit on the thick side, but at least they are pretty sturdy. So that is the Cromwell. and I probably did this about 7 months ago, to tell you the truth. So this is probably one of the oldest models of this update. So that is the Matilda. Not the Matilda, Cromwell, sorry. Okay, next up, let's go for the medium machine gun. So here we have the Vickers, British medium machine gun. It's actually the British heavy machine gun in reality, but in bolt action it is the medium machine gun. It's got its 3-man crew, including the sort of section commander here, giving them a compass bearing to lay down fire. I decided to put it on a just a flat base. A lot of my MMGs I like to put behind a berm or behind some cover, but with this one I thought, well, no, just for a change, I'll just I'll put it on a straight flat base, and then it can, like, you know, go behind a wall or be put behind scenery and get its cover that way. So occasionally I do like to do that. I'm pretty chuffed with the way this came out. The base came out quite nice. It's a very basic base, just with some sort of grass flocking. It's my own sort of like special mixture that I mix like a few different flocks together to make a sort of a kind of a unique blend, just to make it look a little bit different from just green. And I just put some tufts on there. And the only sort of other thing that's kind of a little bit unique on this model is the actual water pipe for the cooling jacket on the front of the MMG there. The actual metal pipe that came with it, I believe, was slightly mismolded and snapped in two really easily. So I basically just used a kind of a thick piece of string that I believe was once part of a 1/6 scale Vickers smock, I believe, that the actual string that ties the smock together. It's kind of like a sort of a shrunk down shoelace material, and it just looks like black pipe. So I just tried it, and it came out looking really quite cool. So I kind of chuffed with that. And it's one of those small little things that just turned out looking really cool. So you can see, I'm kind of filming late at night, so the lighting is not super amazing, but funnily enough, I just went back and watched one of my videos, and I saw like 8 months, and I thought, oh my, it's you know, I've actually got things that I could do an update for, so let's get on going. So yeah, this is the Vickers team. I'm pretty chuffed with how it turned out. Yeah, it's just a bog standard medium machine gun, really. Crew wise, we've got a corporal and 2 privates. So the section leader would be a corporal, and the machine gun number 1 and 2, both privates. Okay, that's the Vickers. Next up, this is I'm kind of doing these things in order that I actually ended up doing them. This is the air spotter from my British Army, and you can see this is the guy that comes in the Warlord Forward Observer pack, I believe. And you can see that I've actually done him in his sort of RAF overall, RAF colour uniform overall, BDEs, and they actually turned out really quite cool. Again, it's one of those kind of weird figures that I was kind of a little dubious about. You know, it's not like one of my favourite figures, and as I kind of you know, started painting him up and sort of ended up heading towards finishing him, I kind of, again, strangely kind of fell in love with him, and he's now quite one of my sort of favourite command figures in my entire British Army, really. I gave him the rank of squadron leader, so he's you know, ready to call in some on-the-spot air support. Very happy with how he turned out, and I especially liked the way that I got the RAF sort of webbing colour, quite cool as well. I was pretty chuffed with the way he turned out. So that's the RAF Air Observer. And now the final thing is another infantry squad, and these guys are kind of funny in the way that, I mean, I'm sure you all know by now my love of plastic figures, and although the British plastic figures kind of go together pretty well, I still hate putting them together, and it actually took me the best part of 2 months, maybe even 3 months, to actually stick these 10 guys together, and I ended up painting them in a week. So it just shows you that you know, I really do hate sticking these things together. And you know, some of my future armies, Soviets in particular, with the amount of plastic infantry that you have in a sort of a basic Soviet army, I'm kind of really not looking forward to sticking those guys together. But these guys came out really quite cool. It's always nice when you go back to doing something and you end up, you know, your painting is improved, you know, just that little bit that makes them like that, you know, they sort of come out better than the ones you did previously, those sort of like 8 months ago. So we have a sort of another standard late war British rifle section here, with its Bren section as well. So we have the Bren section here, the Bren section corporal, and or Lance Corporal, sorry, and the Bren gunner and his loader. And of course the loader has the Bren accessories pack attached to the side of his backpack. This is the Bren loader, and you can see that he's actually passing a Bren magazine to the actual Bren gunner. You can see that I've also given him the extra ammunition holders that Bren teams generally carried. In fact, the only thing I haven't given him is his the pickaxe that he would carry, but I'm not too worried about that. Yeah, you know, came out quite cool. This positioned guy, sort of handing the Bren mag off to the Bren gunner. If I bring the Bren gunner in, you can see that the actual Bren itself, he's actually you know, just pulling back the cocking lever to make sure the action's clear before taking the next magazine to put in. And you can see that, I mean, even though this is a kneeling figure and they don't have the rifle pouches, he's kind of positioned in a way that you can't really see the bottom ones, but I managed to sneak in, because of his position, the extra 2 top ones. So he ended up coming out really quite cool, and I really do quite like this position. It's kind of a little bit unique. So if I have him posed with the loader, you can see he's kind of passing him the magazine. Quite cool. So that's the actual two Bren team members, and here we have the Lance Corporal in command of the section. And again, I kind of quite like the position this guy came out in. I gave him like an extra bandolier of ammo for his rifle, because all his ammo pouches will be filled with Bren magazines. But because of the bandolier, I couldn't really fit that extra one on, but because it's kind of over it, it could be the sort of covering it up, so it kind of works. Or alternatively, perhaps he just carries 3 because perhaps it gets in the way of him firing his rifle properly or something. But yeah, I quite like the position this guy came out in. He's got his standard British gear, minus his gas mask pouch. He's not carrying that for some reason. Yeah, he came out pretty cool, and I managed to get his transfers on as well, which is a miracle, because like I said in other videos, these transfers, especially I'm not a massive fan of some of Warlord's sort of decals. They're really quite almost subpar quality compared to like their modelers and stuff, which is a shame, because you'd think that especially when it comes to like infantry transfers, you really do need high quality decals, and I don't think Warlord's decals are that amazing a quality. So here we have the Infantry Section leader, rank of Corporal. He has his Sten and all the sort of standard British kit. Again, a kind of a pretty standard plastic miniature pose, but it does the job. You can tell he's the leader. Kind of looks cool. I actually slightly changed the way that I paint the British. Not too much. You can't really tell drastically, but I was very happy with the way these guys turned out, and the sort of changes that I did. I was very happy with. I basically kind of added an extra layer of highlighting, and I slightly changed the colours I used on the webbing. Came out, like I say, really quite cool. And you can see the transfers. Some of them still having trouble getting those transfers on. Terrible things. But at the same time, I couldn't live without them, because I really wouldn't like to paint that insignia on. Here we have a guy with the bayonet on. Again, a kind of pretty standard plastic arm pose. I find with the plastic British miniatures, you're kind of, even though they've got separate arms, they're kind of, the way that they're attached to the bodies, you're kind of still limited in sort of the poses that you can put them in, without them not hugging the sort of the shoulder blades properly, or one arm sort of pulling loose from the other, etc., etc. But yeah, this is kind of a standard infantry guy. Came out okay, and of course I give all my infantry names. So this guy's a Private Stark, and let's go on for it. So here you have the second guy with the bayonet, and I did try and change his position up, so it looks like he's maybe operating his bolt of his rifle, or alternatively just about to charge. So he's just about to go from perhaps a firing position to a thrusting position, because he's kind of shouting out in the classic show me your war face pose. Got a nice picturesque bunch of flowers in front of him there. I believe they're from Tajima. So that is another infantryman. And we've got 3 more guys to go. Again, these are kind of pretty bog standard infantry, so here we have a kind of an advancing one. and with sort of he's kind of snaring. And the final two we have here, guy just taking aim. And this guy is Private Barnes, Jack Barnes. And you can see that he's actually got a normal netted helmet. And then the last guy, he's also got a normal netted helmet. And again, is in a kind of a pretty standard pose. And this guy is Private George Malone. There we go. And that calls this little update to an end. Let's just bring in everything. So we've got the Air Observer, got the Vickers, got the Cromwell, and we've got the Infantry Section. So a pretty poor show for 8 months of having no videos. But like I say, I've been doing many other things. Plus, I've had a real bad stint of being ill, and probably a good 4 or 5 months this year. I've had maybe not major problems, but probably at least for 3 months of those 5, like real bad, and sort of like 2 months in two months in between that sort of stint of me being not 100%. So like I say, I have been painting. I've been doing some SAGA stuff. I've been doing some Halo fleet battleships. I've been building terrain. I've been collecting up more britishArmyupdate4 armies. I've got plans. Well, I've already collected them actually for a Finnish army, a French army, a Soviet army, and a Chinese army. And my ad hoc American and German armies are still being built up too. And I've also been adding some things to my Japanese army and my US Marine army too. So maybe I'll do a little other armies catch-up video. Although for my Japanese, I've only really done one thing so far. Out of the, I've got like another infantry squad, another tank, another and sort of a medium howitzer for them to come, and also a plan to add a platoon of Special Naval Landing Force, and I've also done a landing craft for them as well. So maybe, like I say, I'll do a other or past bolt action armies update on those and show you what I've done to add to those particular armies. And let me know in the comments if you want me to show you my SAGA stuff or my my Halo fleet battle stuff, and I'll do some videos on them. Yeah, it's like I say, it's kind of feels good to get back doing videos again. I do apologise for not for taking so long to do a video and have such a pathetic amount of things to show you, really. But you know, like I say, they come when they come, and it's you know, I've been a bit slack, but you know, there's lots of things to do for the future, and like I say, let me know in the comments if you want to see some of my other stuff, or even if you want to see my my German or American armies, my ad hoc armies that are kind of build up in the background, where I like to kind of collect my armies that I'm going to try and build all at once and then do them. But with my Germans and Americans, I tend to, because the main starting parts of those forces were from sort of starter sets, I kind of just build them up in the background and add things to them sort of ad hocly. But again, I've kind of added, I mean, the Americans, for instance, I've added like 2 squads of Rangers, a 50 cal team, another medium machine gun team. They've 2 Sherman tanks they've got as well, which I actually did like many months ago. Like even before I even started my British, I'd completed those. And my Germans, I've probably added 2 or 3 infantry squads, and a Puma and a half track for those guys. And again, I've still got many things to add to them still. So yeah, like I say, let me know if you want me to do like some stuff for my SAGA armies, or my Hero Fleet battles, or if you want to see those my Americans or Germans, and if you want me to do just run you through some other armies that aren't even started yet, just run you through sort of what I've got to sort of base those armies on, because like I say, I tend to collect. I like to collect a whole army at once and have it ready to go when I decide to start playing it. Okay, so that's it. Hopefully my next video won't be so long this time, and until then, I'll catch you later.